Hi, Digital Olympus. I'm very happy to be with you today because we are going to go through a very important topic now, which is how to build the most reliable SEO roadmap. But before digging into that, I guess I need to introduce myself. So I'm Francois. I've got over 15 years of SEO experience, and I'm the CEO and founder of OnCrawl, which is a semantic SEO crawler and log analyzer. I used to be also the majestic ambassador for France for many years now. So I hope I will show you some great SEO methods and insights. So let's get to the menu. Today we're going to talk a little bit about project management. And we're going to see how to use several tools and metrics to build your SEO roadmap. And third, we will dig into more deeper analysis and how to execute your SEO roadmap. So let's get the talk started. First of all, I think project management is not a four-letter word. As SEOs, we all have a geeky, even a nerdy side, so that administrative or management tasks are seen as a distraction from getting hands-on SEO. But I think project management is not your enemy. It's one of the key factors of success of your SEO project, because it helps you write down your plan to reach rational goals, and it will help you to communicate and deal with all stakeholders to achieve your goals. So in an SEO project, you find many stakeholders. I mean, clients, coders, SEO guys, even search engines themselves. So you are dealing with different approaches. And all stakeholders have different goals, so sometimes you may have a very big problem. First, your client or your boss sees himself or want to be the George Clooney of the web. I mean, he may want to rank for the most competitive keywords. And on the other hand, you have the SEO state of mind and approaches and constraints. So you need to deal with it. You also have, on the other hand, the developers' constraints and their planning, their development pipes. So you realize there that they have sometimes very different approaches. And then you finally deal with Google, who's changing the game rules now and then. Then we saw some radical changes over the last 5 years. So you need to integrate potential changes and risks into your project management tools and your approach. So you need to integrate that. But what I want to tell you is that with over 250 customers, we found out that SEO success is not only a question of skills or expertise, but a question of organization around the project, and a question of how you manage to keep the communication transparent and seamless between all stakeholders. And to do that, you need the right tools, and of course, you need accurate data. And this is what we are to see in a couple of minutes. But let me just point out my preferred tools for project management. We use Trello on a regular basis. It's really great to communicate and to keep track about who is working on what and when. We also use Slack to communicate with IT guys because it looks like Slack is getting some hype right now. So feel free to use it. It's easy to communicate with developers with that. And of course, you need meeting points. I mean, SEO workshops with all stakeholders, clients, tech guys, SEO teams, so that everyone can sit around the table and have access to every part of the stakeholders in the SEO project. We are going to see now which metrics you need to rely on to build the perfect SEO roadmap. First of all, you have three things three types of actions you can act on. First one is link building. And as this topic is well documented out there, I won't get into a lot of details. I will dig more into technical SEO and the content, which is closely linked. So let's get into that. First of all, we will see how to build proper content segmentation, how to put the right pages and keep track of your performance, and how to validate your strategy on each ranking factor. And we'll see a couple of examples from OnCrawl. So what we are going to see is how to become a top gun at driving the SEO strategy efficiently. First thing first, when you start thinking about your on-page SEO, you need to get back to your basics. The first things to look for is the perfect picture of your content. You need to know perfectly your market, your topic, to provide your targets with the content they want, using the keywords they are querying. You also need to know how content is split within your site. And you should pay attention to comparing your website to your competitors, and doing so, chances are you will find some solutions or perhaps some kind of inspiration. And in this chart, you can see that this website has a huge volume of pages regarding the category presented in red. So if you have an oversized group of pages within your website, you should pay attention to how to deal with it. And at first sight, you can understand here that there might be something hard to deal with in terms of internal linking structure and indexation for this particular group of pages. To help you learn more on this, let's look at an A-grade website, meaning a perfectly thought content structure. In this example, we have an online media wanting to rank on the names of people like Lady Gaga or Madonna, whatever. This is the category in green on the screen, and the numbers are representing the depth level of each page or each group of pages. So you can see here that they have set up their pages about people, and which are the pages candidates to rank on the name of people. They put them very close to the home page. And as they perfectly know, they have another category called media, which is the category in brown here, which is subject to near duplicates. The media category is about dioramas, photos, videos, so they have very thin content here. So they put it deeper in their structure. So this way, they are perfectly driving authority, popularity, you name it, to those different groups. To help you segment your pages, I highly recommend that you ask yourself which parts of your website are supposed to rank on highly competitive keywords and build down to your long tail candidates. You should also pay attention to which part of your website have bold content, which part have thin content, which parts have near duplicates. It will help you figure out how to map your website and organize your content. For each group, even each top priority page, you should keep an eye on the depth of the page, of course, but also keep an eye on the in rank, which is a score from 0 to 10, representing the popularity of a particular page. So this is a red curve here, so you can see how popularity flows within your website, and check if you have some kind of internal linking problem. We know that when you have a drop around of 2 points from a level to another, then you might have some kind of internal linking optimization to do. So keep an eye on that, and of course do it by category of pages to get a more accurate view of how in-rank flows. And once you have a great content distribution matching your competitive landscape and your content constraints, you need to check if Google is buying your story. How does Google behave? How does it understand your website? So to do that, simply look at your log files. Here you can see a website with a categorization with brand, product pages, directory, rise, and as you can see, we have here the number of unique URLs Google is fetching every day. And we have a tiny little group called Others. This customer put all the pages with no value at all. It's about 100 pages per day, and when you look at how many times each unique URL is fetched by Google, you see that Google is spending way too much resources on these unvaluable pages. This is a big problem because Google has a kind of crawl budget, which is barely the same every day. They have a number of URLs to crawl per day, so your job as an SEO is to keep Google see the right pages. And so here you can see that this website might have a problem of internal linking structure that implies that Google is wasting its resources on unvaluable pages. And looking at your logs will also helps you track your SEO performance, how each of your optimizations are performing for each part of your website. It will help you check if migration or a new release is doing well, or if your IT has put some new redirects or errors you didn't think of. As we got all the referring traffic in the logs, we can analyze your organic traffic as well. And it's very useful. You can dig into your active pages so that you can better understand which pages. Let me just make a quick information here. An active pages is a page receiving organic traffic. I mean, it's a page ranking in SERPs and a page receiving some users. Here you can see that you can monitor your active ratio and you can monitor how many visits you're doing on these active pages. And we compute something very funny, which is the fresh rank, which is the shortest period of time between two events. One is the first time Google has seen a particular page, and the first time Google sent its first visits, SEO visits. So as an e-commerce vendor, you might check regularly this fresh rank, so it will help you arbitrate different web marketing strategies. And as we know all your active pages, we can find if there's a pattern, a common characteristic of these active pages. How many inlinks do they have? Do they have structured data? How many words do they have? And of course, you can filter the results by groups of pages so that you get an accurate view of the ideal on-page metrics you should target for each group of pages. And of course, we know the inactive pages as well. So we can help you digging into these active and inactive pages. Will help you understand what are the quick wins you should work on first. So feel free to compare this type of data so that you know what to put on top priority. And of course, you need to work on your groups, because I think a great mapping of your website will help you get accurate accurate results for each part of your website. So just to remind you, spot your most competitive pages within your groups, know how unique, how bold, how seen is your content, and determine how you should boost the visibility of each pages or groups of pages. And doing so, you could arbitrate your index, no index rules to optimize Google's crawl budget. And of course, for each group of pages, you can have the ideal on-page metrics that will help you rank in SERPs. Now, as you can have your crawl data and your log data, we are able to combine those two data sets, which will help you spot which zones are not crawled by Google at all. Do you have Orphan pages? And you can compare for each ranking factor how Google is behaving on your groups of pages. So doing these combined analysis, you will understand which ranking factor matters most for your topic or your particular website. And depending on your topic, depending on the size of your content, depending on the size of your website, sorry, the size of your content can matter a lot. You can see here the crawl ratio regarding the number of words per page. You can check as well if the number of inlinks has an impact on the crawl ratio. You can as well check if the payload has an impact, and depending on your topic, the Googlebot's behavior may vary. So you should be aware that a classifieds website won't behave in Google's eyes the same way as an e-commerce website or even a media website. So you should pay attention on each ranking factor and how the optimization of a particular ranking factor may impact Google bots behavior. In parallel, I highly suggest that you check if you have near duplicates. I won't get into much more details here. Sorry. Just remember, we can spot duplicated pages clusters so that you can have an accurate view of how much duplication or near duplicates you have within your website. But you should pay attention if you have near duplicates. You should ask yourself if your near duplicates are generating traffic. And if they are, it's probably because you have backlinks on them, or it's perhaps because there is not a high competition on these pages. So perhaps they are the best candidates in the world, so they are ranking. So you should ask yourselves why are these near duplicates generating traffic to take particular actions on them. Because when you are dealing with duplicates, a usual way to avoid them is to set up rules like having canonicals, and you should be aware of what you are doing here, because sometimes SEOs are thinking once they've set up canonicals, they are done with the job, but that's not true at all. You need to have a semantic approach, and as we are grouping pages with similar content, and as we will tell you, if there's a canonical set on these pages, you need to understand that having a semantic approach on setting up the canonicals is very important, because as a group of pages with net duplicates are talking about the same thing, if the canonicals are pointing to different pages, Google won't like it at all. This is a very, very big problem, because what you see here is that the canonicals of feed page in a group if they don't target the same page in their canonical, Google is fetching them as often as if they were pages with no duplications. And I think Google is doing that to keep trying to understand these pages. So you are wasting Google's resources and time, as they will be considered as duplicates they won't rank. So why wasting Google's resources on them? And in the combined analysis, you also have a view of your orphan pages. An orphan page is a page with no link from your structure, but a page known by Google. So it's often the case when you are an e-commerce vendor. Sometimes you have a product in stock, and sometimes you don't have it. So perhaps you have this rule when your product is out of stock, the link is disappearing from your structure, but Google remembers it, so he's still fetching it. So you are wasting resources on pages that won't sell. So you might ask yourself how to deal with that kind of issues, and perhaps you are if you're an e-commerce vendor, in 2016 you had the 2016 collection, and going into 2017 you have a new collection, so you have new URLs, and your older URLs perhaps are not linked from your structure. So and perhaps Google is still remembering them. So you don't want Google to see them, and perhaps they are often pages. And if Google is fetching them, you're still wasting Google's resources. So your job is to lead the Google bot to your main pages. So having the view of your orphan pages will help you save a lot of resources and reorient the bots to your main targets. And we have all the data about the traffic on these orphan pages, so that you can arbitrate some different rules for each of your orphan pages. We also have a combined analysis with your Google Analytics data, so that if you don't have access to your log, you can still have a view on a part of your orphan pages and active pages. So just remember that to build your SEO roadmap, you need accurate data from a crawler, from your logs, and to get combined analysis, so that you can unlock search engines black box, and you can take action based on reliable data and very factual data about Google behavior. So thank you all. Thanks for watching me. I'll be happy to answer your questions.